special guest, very important, and I'll tell you why in a second. We got Papa Keith, man. Give it a hand. Give a hand for Papa Keith. All right, so this guy is important to this podcast because I just told him outside, which he didn't know. It started over Clubhouse. I had so many people asking me for investment advice. I do options, and they would come on Twitter and ask me all the time. So Clubhouse opened up, and everybody was starting to get on. So I say, look, I don't want to charge anybody. Just come on here for free, and we'll talk options every morning, 9:30 a.m. So I thought it'd be 4 or 5 people, and it ends up being 100 people. And Papa Keith was a frequent visitor, not once or twice, but every day. So, that kind of motivated me to show me where, just being helpful can take you. And that one Clubhouse opened up so many doors for me. So, but that's enough of me.
You made me rich, so I want to give you your flowers for that.
I mean, okay, so we're going to get into it. We want to know your background, where you're from, how you got started. I think we're all familiar with your voice, but now it's time to find out about the man behind the voice. So.
First of all, this is my first time here, so I'm very, very happy to be here.
Happy
Go
to have
Bobcats. Thank you so much for having me, and I hope this is not my last time here, all right? So anybody from New York here? All right, that's what's up. I'm sure you're very happy to be here in sunny South Florida, although we're in the 60s right now than to be in New York. But that's where I'm from originally. But my parents are from the Caribbean. Anybody here from the Caribbean? All right. All right, both of my parents are from Trinidad and Tobago. Anybody familiar? It's next to Venezuela. Venezuela. So it's a boot-shaped island that has another little island next to it, which is called Tobago, and that's where my parents are from. And they came over to America thinking if I was born in America that they would get citizenship. Didn't quite work that way, but I got the citizenship.
Half of the plan worked out.
Right, half of the plan worked out. And that's where, I started my early life in New York City, in Brooklyn. My father worked for the UN, United Nations, but he was always an entertainer. Comedy, joking, laughing, throwing house parties. So I was always introduced to entertainment at a very, very young age through him. He used to collect records and play music in the house all the time, and that's how I connected my love to music.
So being an immigrant, coming here, going to New York, we all have obstacles, but there's a different set of obstacles coming from a different country. Was it anything, I would say, hindering you from taking off on your path? Or
It's a weird story, so I don't want to make it sound all negative, because sometimes it's really not. Right. But I guess the biggest issue was really between my parents and I. So to jump forward, I left home at 16.
Right.
My father and I just couldn't see eye to eye. Because he came from a third world country where, the way they see things are a lot different than us, being born here, or the diaspora, I think what they call it, right? So it was a constant struggle, He believed I should go to school in church shoes. And
right.
as you know, back in the days when you go to a school that doesn't have a uniform code, it's all about the sneakers, right?
Yeah.
So picture me pulling up in school and
number one target.
Right, you're getting teased and all these different things, and it causes you to want to do things to be able to fit in, right? Which is a whole nother thing.
Right.
But fortunate enough, I've always been one to want to work hard and figure things out. So I always did entrepreneurial stuff and hustle, shovel snow, did anything I could to earn money the right way.
Right.
So the biggest fight was really between my father and I, just being two different individuals, him wanting certain things for me that I didn't want for myself. You know what I mean?
So do you feel like your choices in that situation shaped who you are today?
Absolutely. Coming from the Caribbean, they didn't know anything about being a radio personality or even an artist or entertainer. It was all about a doctor or a lawyer. And I know Latinos share that as well. Your parents just want you to be a doctor or a lawyer. Right. And that was it. So, I talk like a lawyer. I get myself out of things, but that wasn't the direction I wanted to go. I wanted to entertain people.
I think sometimes our parents, they just reflect on their experiences. And, I'm a parent now as well, and there's certain things that I just won't want my kids to go through. And, it puts you in a box, and it furthermore puts the kids in a box because you just can't see them venturing out in the world. But then you reflect and say, man, some of those experiences are the reason I'm a great parent for them.
Absolutely.
And you can't hide them from the world. So a parent who wants you to be a professional while you want to be an entertainer. Did you always want to be in radio, or was it?
I didn't know it was radio. I just knew I wanted to entertain, so I started off being a DJ.
So you're coming from the polar opposite side.
Yeah.
So how did you get into radio?
I kind of stumbled on it. So in 1999, you were probably 2 years old, I had the opportunity to be on the Luke Show. If you're familiar with Luther Campbell, Uncle Luke, he had a show on 99 Jams called The Luke Show,
right,
that went on from 10 p.m. to midnight. It was
This was the PG referencing.
Yeah. It was sort of like a variety show.
Right.
In the sense that he had legendary DJ Uncle Al, who's no longer with us, DJ Khaled, and then myself and a bunch of other guys called Soul Syndicate. So it was like the Miami-based scene with DJ Uncle Al. Then it was DJ Khaled bringing that like New York hip-hop vibe. And then we were the reggae DJs. So we all DJ'd on the Uncle Luke Show. Before that, I was doing underground radio for quite some years, right, on Mix 96 and a few other stations,
okay,
but more namingly Mix 96. Yeah. I was doing my own morning show there, so that's when I was able to kind of like understand how radio works and, and craft it and do my own show and stuff like that. And then when I got the chance to be on the Luke Show and actually be in the building at 99 Jams, I was like, oh, this is what I want to do.
The Luke Show was your first big shot.
Yeah, the Luke Show was my first big shot, although it was just a little segment.
Yeah, just a nudge. And the main thing I wanted to highlight was immediately after making the decision, he dove straight into education. And education doesn't always look like college. This is great, of course. Like, I would love this same opportunity. But education is whatever you can make it. His thing was going to Miami Lakes Tech and just getting into broadcasting and communication and just having something to build off of, and then followed by determination, just showing up. And one thing that can make that determination a little bit easier is actually having passion for what you want to do. Because if you pick something strictly off of the salary and it's not even in tune with who you are, it's going to be hard to do a lot of the things he said he had to do. And just wait for that right amount of time. But even still, when you're starting something new, if I'm looking at somebody help me and they don't seem enthusiastic or they're not doing the extra work, that's not the person I may be willing to get invested in right away. So it's a person that I see that's invested, passionate about it, that you almost want to return a favor to them. You want to see them prosper a little bit more. Hey, I can't afford an employee right now, but as soon as I can, you're going to be the first one to be paid. And I'm training you to run this place, so.
Well said. Internships are very key.
We got the nudge from Luke. The universe showed you this is a possibility. What was your first official break?
I would say in the business, at least back then. So, all right, let me break down the radio business really quick so you can understand the difficulty to get into the type of workforce that I'm in. So if you think about like a plumber or electrician or a mechanic, hundreds of thousands of them in a city, right? You can go and Google and pull up a full list. Radio personalities, if you're doing urban radio or Spanish radio, right? There's 2 or 3 jobs, period. There's 2 or 3 jobs. So if my goal is like, I want to do afternoons on the radio on a hip hop station, I only have 2 options, 99 Jams or The Beat, right? And some cities don't even have options. It's just one station. So it's a very difficult field to get into, because there's just not a lot of options, right? But usually when you get in, you're good. And then you either stay where you are for a while or you bounce around to different cities till you get to the position that you want. I've been fortunate enough to be able to have my whole career here in South Florida, but that's not normal. Sometimes you start off in some little small towns, somewhere,
right,
some college towns or some, Army-based towns, and you work your way up to the big city, to the top 20 city. So our market here in South Florida is 12. So like I said, it's very fortunate. So what happened for me is just, again, it's going to kind of spin off of what you're saying, just having that passion and that desire and wanting to do it so bad, not making it about the money. I think that kind of propelled me. So what happens is that when a person calls out sick is when you get your opportunity. You know, either DJing, mostly in entertainment, hosting, radio personality. When a person can't show up or shows up late, that's how I've always been able to move up in this business. So that's what happened. A person couldn't make their shift.
That's always the one thing is like you're gonna be prepared, working hard. It's not gonna be you. It's gonna be that one little situation where you had no control anyway, and being ready, you get that opportunity. To
Exactly.
shine. Yeah.
So someone missed the shift because they used to be scared of us because we were young, you know, younger back then, and we were a little wild and stuff like that. So we used to be in overnights. So in overnights, you can get away with a lot more. There's a lot less audience, and you know, and those things. So the opportunity came, and I needed somebody to fill in the afternoons on Saturday from 3 to 7. So I got the call, and I went in, and I did. You know, I gave my energetic self, but was professional enough for them to feel comfortable. And after that, the position became mine, and I just grew from there.
And that's all it takes. I mean, it's all every situation I think that I had that was great for me was like a mistake. Just being ready, just being a person who understands it. You know, my family, they think I'm weird. I come watch YouTube. I come home and watch YouTube all day, and it's literally like some stuff, like the same thing you're seeing in here. I'll be watching the same thing, lectures and all type of stuff.
Yeah.
But that one small moment when you need that little piece of information, it's like of tremendous value. You know, and I want to get into the marketing side. So one thing I can say, I grew up down here, so I've heard every urban radio personality. I'm familiar with all of them, but the one thing that stands out about you is outside of your show, you can always remember hearing your voice for the promos. So I feel like, and this is live, so I'm not calling it. You have your own media company, correct?
I do.
Okay, and I'm sure you do media for the radio stations, but how important is it to you that you do your own media marketing and actually utilize your voice? You have a unique voice, so utilizing your voice in media.
So as you know, do those years of working for free and learning and understanding, and you've been in the business for a while, you start to realize that, you know, there's two directions you can go. You can just work for somebody for the rest of your life and they'll dictate how your future is, or you can learn, understand the business, and find out how you now can take that knowledge and turn it into a business. So that's the difference that I made. And the thing about it, which is the thing about almost every reason we don't succeed in things or we don't understand things, is fear, right? We fear things. It's not your fault. It's stuff your parents instilled in you. It's stuff that you've seen and nobody took the time to explain to you. That's why you fear it. The unknown. I'm not sure what's going to happen. So I became fearless in that regard, where like, listen, nothing tried, nothing done. That was this thing I would always say to myself. So when I'm getting ready to get into something, whether it's opening up a restaurant or it's owning a LED truck, whether a sound system, all these different things, none of them can I run on my own.
Right.
I have to depend on other people to do it. But I just was fearless. Like nothing tried, nothing done. Let me try it, and hey, if it fails, at least I tried, and there's always a lesson in failure. I know you've heard it a million times, but I'm going to reiterate on it. There's always a lesson in your failures that's going to propel you further than you could ever imagine. You know what I mean? So I decided, after learning the weaknesses of radio can't do everything. Here's the trick with radio, right?
Right.
So radio is like a blanket. So if you have a business, sir, in Coral Gables, you have an ice cream shop, right? You want everybody to know about your ice cream shop. It's cool. Yeah, you can invest in radio. Radio's expensive. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, before there was really social media and stuff like that, and I've incorporated the social media, you had no other choice but to either be in a local magazine in the area or you would use radio. Again, radio's expensive. You're in Coral Gables. Radio blankets the whole of South Florida. If I'm in West Palm Beach, I'm not coming to Coral Gables for, for ice cream.
Right.
I'm going to go whatever's in my area. So those were the weaknesses that I found in radio. It's great, right? Everybody gets to hear, about your restaurant, your store, whatever you got going on. But if you're in a specific market, what can I do to break that down a little bit more to give you direct marketing? So I wanted to kind of master in direct marketing and all the stuff that would surround that. So my first venture was an LED truck. I invested in with a friend of mine into an LED truck.
Right.
If you don't know what an LED billboard truck, it's one of those U-Haul type vans that got the big screens on the side and the
digital,
back.
yeah.
And you can roll videos, you can play video games on it, but mostly you can run advertisement. So now for your ice cream shop in Coral Gables, instead of you spending all that money on radio, you understand? You can now hire my LED truck to drive around Coral Gables to advertise your ice cream shop. It'll be a lot cheaper. I'm not messing with the radio station's money, and I found that niche.
It's direct marketing.
Niche,
Right.
So it was that. Street teams also did the same thing. If you wanted to reach a direct audience, you're throwing a concert with a Latin artist like Bad Bunny, and you want to go to a Farruko concert and let them know you got Bad Bunny next week. Street team, LED truck, all of these things now can support a direct audience that you would like to reach.
So it's your knowledge of the crowds, the behaviors of the audience, the capabilities, what the radio has, but what they also don't have, and you inserted yourself there.
Absolutely. Another thing about it too is also dealing with the audience. So I work for iHeart, right? iHeartMedia is the biggest company with podcasts and radio stations. They have the most radio stations in America, all of that. But sometimes they don't know how to talk to my people. And when I say my people, I don't necessarily mean black people. I just mean people who are in the hip hop world.
Right.
It could be white, black, whatever. You understand what I'm saying? But if now you have that same ice cream shop and you got on your Air Force Ones and you swaggy and, you're not dressed the way you are, but you're more in the hip hop world. And you're like, yo, Papa Keith, man, I'm trying to get some people to come out to my ice cream shop. If I put a regular salesperson in front of you, they may not be able to talk to you in a way that makes you feel comfortable to spend your money, but I can. You understand? Or I can build that team around me to be able to talk to you, or even if it's to speak to you in Spanish. You know what I mean? If your English is not good, even if you're Haitian and I could put a person that speaks Creole in front of you to explain how radio works,
It's being accommodated.
and now you're my customer.
Right.
So that's what it's called. Whoa, that's what my media agency does.
Essentially, you are a consultant in the broadcasting field, which most experts who don't want to work for somebody for a long time, you've been in the field, it can literally be anything. It can be water bottles. If you've been in a water bottle plant for 30 years and you know that, well, caps can be made better or money can be saved here, you have the opportunity to leave that field and assist as a private contractor. And that's also always a great field to get in because most people feel like they have to stop what they're doing and go into entrepreneurial space it's a joke.
The
but
worst decision you can make.
Yeah, it's just following the money. No, your skills allow you to make money on your own. You just have to be fearless and be willing to go get it yourself.
The best thing you can do is if you're working for somebody and you have an idea to be an entrepreneur is, in all fairness to the company that you're working for, allow yourself to grow enough to the point where you have to make a decision like, well, you know what? I can't have this job and continue my entrepreneurial spirit. You understand it? It needs to meet at a crossroads. Right. You know what I mean? Because like he said, too often people say, oh, I have this idea. And then you drop your job, you drop everything, you drop school, and then you jump into this thing, and then you don't have anything to really support the fact that you want to dive into this. So,
or you have to start over. Real estate is booming, and I've been in radio for 15 years. Now you have to go start over, learn real estate, compete at the bottom of the barrel. There's pros already there, and build your way up. Your hustle can get you there if it's something you're passionate about. But if it was just the money play, it's going to be a little tougher.
I call it a Tarzan. I hold on to one vine until I got that vine solid. I let go of the other one.
Right. And I'm a little crazy. I just had to jump. But everybody has their reasons why you have to. My job was a great job. I learned a lot. It helped me learn a lot of things in life. However, I had an accident that was you don't account for an accident. And honestly, during my time in my accident, I got to see that I wasn't able to utilize my time right because we work so much. It's the power company. You guys hate when the lights are off. We're always working. So at some point, I was able to develop my skills in media, and music, and production up until a point to where it was a ceiling, and I just had to make that same decision. So everybody's situation is going to be different.
You didn't tell them that you're an artist?
It's like I never tell anybody I'm an artist. Yes, I'm an artist. I'm an artist as well.
Yeah.
You do. She's heard my stuff.
Hit record on the radio, this guy.
That's the pass.
You're too humble.
Look, I guess I'm just focused on the message. The message is the most important thing right now. But eventually, you guys will hear me, and you'll get to say, I got to see him years back at my college, So the last thing I want to get into before we wrap up is the future. We are now living in a multi-dimensional world. There's the real world, there's the metaverse, there's social media. How do you, first question is, do you feel like your business is ready for the transition, or can we speak on what do you feel like you might need for the transition?
It's a great question. So I'm still old school. So I still love to touch and feel things. So I still like the assets that I have, which now is like a mobile lounge, a LED truck. I just sold a food truck and the restaurants. I don't have that anymore. A sound system, and I still enjoy, and a music truck.
Right.
2 of them. I still enjoy those things because that's just who I am. But I do and did realize that the digital world has taken over. It is the future, and if you don't incorporate the digital world into what you have going on, you will be left in the dust. So what I do is I hire or work with people who are passionate about that, because I'm not passionate about that. You know what I mean? Even Instagram. I enjoy it.
Right.
It's entertainment, and I know a lot of you heal and learn through Instagram. But if I didn't have to deal with it at all, I wouldn't. Because like I said, I'm just more of a hands-on, and I love to touch and feel and do things more than live in that virtual world.
Exactly.
But nonetheless, I don't knock anybody for it. It's a great asset, like I said, depending on how you use it. But the thing about it is that in anything, if you're scared, if you're going back to that fear, or if you're not sure, or if you just don't understand, sometimes a cool way is to invite people into your mind, into your space, that enjoy the things that you don't like. So it's like understanding your weakness. And that's been one of the keys for me, is just like the things that I don't like, I hate, that I've been fearful of. Why not invite someone who doesn't feel that way about that loves that challenge, and collaborate with them? You know what I'm saying? Right. And then we work together. So my strengths could be their weakness, and vice versa. And right. And if you've noticed, that's the trend of the way how business and things are going, is a lot of collaborations.
And you stick to your strengths. Like, for instance, starting as a rapper or entertainer, I'm just used to attracting people or engaging with people. So that lends a hand in other spaces. So when we started, this is one of my partners here, Joe, when we started doing the stock show and the stock podcast, he went to school for economics.
That's him?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay, I didn't know you from Clubhouse, and now I do. Yeah.
So but I'm more of a personality, and I understand stock. So we work together. He helps me build out everything I need for the show. I become entertaining, but he's very key and pivotal to the show. That's Joey. His background is in film and in music. I'm good with music, so we can speak the same language, and I can communicate what I need from him via film, and he can effectively do it. And it's empowering. Like, he's going to have his own big business and dynasty that we're going to work together. He's going to have his own, but we all able to work together.
Yes.
So like I said, in the metaverse, this is the greatest opportunity for anybody to get a chance to do whatever they want to do. And because what's happening is nobody dominates it. So if you want to figure out how to be the first DJ in the metaverse, now is the time.
Yeah.
If you want to figure out how anything applies, makeup, fashion, athletics, now is the time. And that's why this is one of the greatest times in the last 100 years, because You're not held back by anything. You can shape your own future again. I mean, right now it's just discipline, being fearless, understanding finances. We can no longer go on and understand finances. Learning how to work past your barriers or finding somebody to help you. I'm born in '88, so it's weird because in the investment space, I really like what I see with options and stocks. I like crypto, but NFTs are like a push for me, you know? So I can't just say, oh, you're just selling pictures. Well, if it turns out to be something, then I'll be way behind, still doing options and getting scammed by Wall Street. You know, I don't know if anybody made any money with AMC in here, but we got a chance to really watch. Yeah, we made some good money with AMC, but we also lost a little bit, and we saw how we lost it. So going into a space where it's not so dominated and regulated, this is a new frontier. So do you have any plans for the metaverse?
I don't at this exact moment now, but it is something, like I said, I understand how the future is moving, and I definitely want to be a part of it. You know what I mean? So I continue to, recruit people who are passionate about those things so they can help to educate me and have my foot in that door, But it's exciting times, man. Listen, the world has never had so many young millionaires. And I know there's one in here right now. So when you become that millionaire, just please remember me.
Right.
And I said that you were going to be a millionaire. And whether it's donating to Papa Key for People Matter, I'll be happy with that.
And make
one
sure
of y'all
you're
in here is going to be a
show,
millionaire.
Hopefully this inspired you a little bit more. So do you have anything you want to plug or let the people know you got coming up?
I just want to say this, man. This thing's been bothering me. So the young lady from Extra, who committed suicide the other day. Yeah. And I've just been noticing the trends. Listen, y'all, man. Listen, in my day, it was just a little bit different. I'm not trying to, age myself out, but I don't know what y'all are going through at this exact moment in your life. You understand? I'm not a religious person by any means, but I've been through a lot of things in my life, a lot of times that I've wanted to say, end it all. You understand? Just give yourself an opportunity. Seek the help that you may need to give yourself a chance to really, complete your life and, and have an opportunity to see what you become. Because I didn't think I would become half of what I was able to become, So I would love for y'all, everyone in this room, and you could pass it on to your friends, just give yourself a shot. Life is not meant to be great. And this is the downfall of social media and Instagram. Remember, when you're watching Instagram and all these different things, it's like the best of. This is not how these people live their lives. This is not their everyday lives.
It's the highlight reel.
You understand? Yeah. Exactly. So don't allow that to warp your mind to believe like it's always about popping bottles, having a good time, going on trips and all these different things. You understand? That's just the best of, and put that in that place. Enjoy it, for sure. And just keep fighting a good fight. You're going to have obstacles, and when you fight over those obstacles, it's just going to make you a better person. But I don't want anybody here to ever feel like they have to take their life. You know what I mean? It's too valuable.
And that's one of the main reasons we do this podcast, because what matters to me more than anything, if I work hard, I'm going to be successful. I'm going to get money some kind of way. But we get a chance to be in here as a community. I don't know who needed to hear that. I may need that information later on, but we get to show that we're not in this by ourselves. People feel the same way we feel. You're not isolated in your feelings. Happiness is always around the corner, and it's fleeting. Once you get it and you achieve it, you have to go through another cycle.
You know what woke me up to how different things work? Because sometimes, there's so much information out there right now, right? So what woke me up was actually the housewives of whatever. You pick it. Whichever housewives you want. I would literally, no, for real, I would literally watch this show and be like, oh shit, they got problems too. You understand what I'm saying? Because you feel like money and all the things you could get in life are going to make you happy. And if you don't see how miserable those people are in that show with all the money, all the attention, all the accolades, you understand what I'm saying? That's how I learned the lesson, man. Because I used to think that money, making money, getting money, having power, and all those things would solve all your problems and make your life better. But it really doesn't. It's nice, to work towards something and to gain something. It's cool, but it doesn't make you happy.
Yep.
And that's what I learned, and I'll end with this. Because I learned that lesson about 5-6 years ago, guys. This is, even still new to me. The same thing in radio. I fought, and then finally I got the show that I wanted, the money I wanted. I bought a Tesla, I bought a big house. I was like, yes, life is great. Look at me. And I felt like a hole in my heart for a whole year. This is real spit, man. So for a whole year, I felt a hole in my heart, and I couldn't understand it. I'm like, family's happy, I'm riding nice, getting girls, you know what I mean? The vibe was right, but I didn't feel right inside. I felt like crap. And it was the Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton election. A company asked me to go out and encourage young voters to understand the power of their voting. Before that, I didn't understand it. Okay? I didn't understand it. I voted for Barack Obama twice because he was black, and I just wanted my kids to see, hey, look, a black man president. Just being honest with you. In that process is when I started to understand. I went and I started to understand that the power of voting, you know what the real power of voting is? No matter if you're black, white, Asian, Samoan, you're rich, you're poor, no matter what, we all get one vote. That's the one thing that makes us equal. Nothing else makes us equal.
Right.
You got curly hair. That's fly. I have a bald head. We ain't equal, right? But the one thing that's equal is that we could vote for who's the president.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. So that keeps us on that common ground. So that's why you see people fighting for you not to have a voice, not to have a vote, not to use your power. Because if you don't use your power voting, somebody else will. You understand? And then you wonder why this or this pothole or this is not happening the way you want it to happen because you're not using your voice, you're not using your power to vote. So when I started learning all that stuff, I started going into the inner city communities. I used to think, I'm being so frank with y'all today. I used to think because I was Caribbean American and my father had 3 jobs and bought real estate and we were able to be lower middle class, I used to think that black Americans were lazy. As a black man, I used to think black Americans,
misconception because,
I didn't get it. I didn't know things about digital deserts, where there's actually places here in South Florida where people cannot get the internet. I didn't know about food deserts, where there are places in Liberty City and certain places right here in South Florida.
No fresh food.
Where in a 5-mile radius, there is no grocery. You're eating from a bodega. Like, this doesn't sound real to a lot of y'all because we have access, right? We have cars, we have all these different things. So when I started really wrapping my head around the disadvantages in these inner cities and these communities, I made it my thing to want to help them. And I created my nonprofit, which is Papa Keith for People Matter.
People matters.
And my mission is to let the people know that you matter. In here with you good? Yeah. Whether it's you in here and I'm talking to you about suicide, or if I'm in Carroll City, or if I'm in Liberty City and I'm talking to them about making better decisions. You understand? And that's now become my life work. I've been doing it for 5-6 years now, and it's changed my life.
So I feel like we ended on a beautiful note. Let's give a round of applause for Papa Keith. We got can we take the one question or can we do it? Got one question right there.
Could you come up here? I'm so sorry, I can't hear you. Is there a portable mic either?
Yeah, you can sit right here. Come on.
Oh, you got the yellow Crocs. Dude, I just bought about 6 Crocs. I got into them lately. I love them. Yeah, it's very comfortable.
I don't want to be too loud.
What's your name, brother?
My name's Jello.
Talking to the mic? Pleasure to meet you.
You know how there's like an abundance of knowledge, and a lot of people are getting so many false knowledge and notions and a lot of things. So it's hard to find like a good mentor or a good source of information. So how do you like identify good information and good mentors in a lot of people?
That's a great question, first of all. To me, it's a feeling. I used to, I think we're all pretty much born with the gift of knowing what's right from wrong, right? I think it's just a feeling. And I used to give this example. If you're walking and you see a rose, right? It's so pretty. In your head, if you're going to pick up that rose, you have to say something in order to do that. I'm going to tell you the word with all due respect. That's the word that you use in order to do something wrong. If you're listening to a podcast, you're listening to me, you're listening to a teacher, a counselor, and what they're saying to you gives you a feeling, then that's the connection. Because it's a connection. Sometimes a person says 10 words to me and I already know if I'm going to vibe with them or not. You understand? Because it's just a feeling. You understand? We're born to know what's right or wrong. You know that cutting somebody off in traffic and cussing them out is wrong, right?
Yeah, I know.
You don't need nobody to educate you on that,
But like recently during the COVID year, I was trying to get into stocks and foreign exchange. So I ended up meeting someone in the street, and they were trying to get me on foreign exchange. I'm in COVID. I started working like full time at Walmart. I was like 18 years old, and I started talking to the guy, and her vibe was excellent, but I know she was just marketing and trying to get me on part of her group. So eventually I went to Hard Rock Stadium and we had a big event, IM3,
Yeah.
foreign exchange thing, and it had Clubhouse. I don't know if it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But I went there and then they hit me with, yeah, we have a monthly fee of $250. You know what I'm saying? And it was crazy.
Right.
So I was like, maybe I can make money off of it. So I tried it the first month.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted me to bring more people, and it was like a pyramid scheme.
Right.
So I was like, that wasn't for me. And now I could tell my sisters and brother that it's not.
Sometimes we spend $250, a broken heart, whatever, to learn a lesson. That's fine, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay. You're going to get that money back. You're going to do way better than that, all right? But you said something, I knew they were marketing, see? So at that point, then that should have been your focus. Hey, is this a marketing scheme? Hey, be upfront with me and get the information before you would have gave up that $250 because you knew it. And that's why I keep telling you, it's a feeling. You know. You just have to take that feeling that you get and focus on what's making you feel that way and get the answers to those questions. You know what I mean? Because you could avoid paying the $250 if you went with that feeling that you just said.
They was dodging questions.
There you
So
go.
like,
There you go.
it was like
You should have been on
30%
Ranso's Clubhouse podcast for free.
yeah.
Hey, thank you so much, man.
So with that, we want to hold up the next class. We're going to wrap it up, and I want to bring out Mrs. Ashley King and Brandon Vega. They are my executive producers, and they made all this possible. So hopefully we can keep that going and bring in our guests. But with that being said, this is With that being said, this is the Hustle Academy podcast. You caught that live blooper. And we have Papa Keith, and I want to thank you guys for coming out again.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.